Hey everybody, welcome back to Room for Seconds. I am thrilled to have another one of my dear friends, André Vener from DogHaus on today's episode. But as you can see in the background, we're still at Hayden Hall, our brand new restaurant from Craveworthy Kitchen that opened up in Chicago, with 3 additional restaurants opening up throughout the Chicagoland area. And as you can see from the last one to now, we are absolutely packed. 200 people just walked in for lunch, and it is going to be extremely loud and fun. So again, what makes this space so cool from all my other restaurants is that 7 of my brands live in this restaurant, with 2 more coming, and it's a spot to go ahead and taste everything that's Craveworthy. Why it's so cool on top of that, and why I wanted to have André on this episode, is that part of what I've gotten my ideas from is what this man and his team developed at DogHaus. And I've said over and over again, there's not really an original idea in this space. André had one. And I've been able to piggyback on that and now make it part of my brands. But this is the guy, and his team is the one that sort of kickstarted this idea and made it so special. So André, first, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here. I'm excited. This place is beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be in Chicago. Excited to be here. And before it goes too long, I just once again want to say happy birthday.
Well,
Special day, and I was excited to celebrate yesterday. I've never had so many pieces of cake in one day.
And you missed one. I had to go home and have another one.
I thought it was bad if I would come home to your family and share cake with you. So
I think we had like 12 cakes yesterday. I exaggerated by a little, but not much.
But definitely more than 5.
So, well, thank you like always, and you're a dear friend, and I know you do a ton of this, so it's important that I wanted to focus today on how you're a disruptor in the industry and how DogHaus has gone so different from everything else that everyone else has done. And what you did with Badass Burritos is so different than what all the other virtual brands did out there. So the platform today is really to let you tell your story and plug what you did. And I'll sort of interject at times because, like I said, I took your idea of virtual brands that you own and made them my own, which was brilliant.
Well, I'd have to say it started back, I'll give my daughter credit. She was 7 years old, and we went to a first grade party at her school, and I went to a parent party and met a friend's dad there from her. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, I'm starting these things called Ghost Kitchens. It's Kitchen United, a guy by the name of Michael. And we ran into each other, and I said, "What's a ghost kitchen?" I have no clue what that even means. And this was 2018. And so 2019, we went in and saw some of them. And it took me a hard time to process what it was. But basically, it was a place where you could have your concept go into a hall for delivery. And it was for an overflow, so think of Chick-fil-A. They're full, they're busy all the time, so they needed another kitchen to do delivery and catering only. So when I went into that and I looked at that, it was very interesting to see that this is a place for just delivery only. What we did, at the same time delivery was really taking off, we looked at our sales in store and saw the percentage of each brand. And it didn't represent what delivery was. People would type in the word DogHaus and they think of hot dogs. But when you come into a restaurant, you look at our menu board and say dog, sausage, burgers, chicken, plant-based. And so the mix wasn't the same. And so what we did is we created these virtual brands, just marketing, that's all it was, to say, okay, of our chickens section, what are we going to call it? It's called Bad Mother Clucker. Okay, let's make up a name, let's do it for delivery only. And now people who are searching restaurants were searching for chicken, hot natural chicken sandwiches, and we'd pop up. Before, we wouldn't pop up. So we created these virtual brands to be another marketing platform. And then we kind of evolved into how, like Badass Breakfast Burritos you're talking about. What does Badass Breakfast Burrito mean? So it's okay, we're going to go after the breakfast daytime, we're going to go to nighttime segment. And so we just really leaned into creating virtual brands, but with our same DNA culture. And I think that's what you're doing. You're creating all these brands, but it's under one umbrella, same DNA, same ops, same team, and creating different marketing tools, different cuisines to fit what the audience is asking for. So, the first thing when we did is we talked to the 3 PDs and we said, what do the customers want? And they said, okay, they want Chinese food. Well, we don't do that. It's not in our DNA. For us, right?
Say mine.
Yeah, to you it is. But that's perfect.
Right.
That's the number one thing. They want pizza. Well, that's not our DNA. Mm-hmm. well, they want burgers, they want this, and they said, okay, we can start working with this. So we stayed true to who we were and created brands based off of our SKUs, and we never went away from who we were. And just like you're doing, you're sticking to your culture, your brands, your customers. And I think just taking a chance of being a pioneer in the space was a gamble, but it seems like it's working for both of us.
Yeah, but I mean, in your case, you did it. Your Badass Burritos went so big, and it started, really boomed COVID. And when everyone was going into the virtual world and all that, and you took off. But Badass Burritos now has basically its own DNA and own branding on its own. It's as big, if not bigger, than DogHaus.
I mean, it's crazy, but we're now 4 years later, and we're going to build our first ever Badass Breakfast Burrito website. We've never even thought of it that. It just became its own brand. Here in Chicago, we actually came to Chicago. We made the cover of the Chicago Tribune. We thought, like, oh, we're coming here to DogHaus. Amazing. Our franchisee picked a PR agency from Chicago, and they said the first ever gourmet hot dog to come to Chicago. And the Chicago Tribune just ate us alive. Boycotted us, don't go to this place, shitty California people coming to Chicago. Holy shit, what's went wrong? We did nothing wrong. PR company did wrong. We could not solve it. We tried to recreate it, Chicago Eater, everything. We barely picked it up. The franchisee is an amazing guy by the name of Jesse Kuntz. He is a veteran. He put all his money into the store, and because of the one bad press release that went out, he was dying. And he was dying, and he was dying, and he was dying, and he said, guys, I have to close this shop. We have no chance of making it. I love you guys, but no chance. And we said, hold on. We're working on virtual brands. Just give us one more month. And so we licensed to him before the pandemic virtual brands. And today he's opened his 6th location in Chicago. That store does over $3 million a year. And over half the sales is a breakfast burrito.
It's amazing.
Nobody wants to come to Chicago to the DogHaus for necessarily a hot dog, but they love our hot Nashville chicken, they love our badass breakfast burritos, and they like our burgers.
We do have a little bit of a ego when it comes to hot dogs here. Just like pizza.
I get it. I'm not going to say like people like boiling their hot dogs. It's okay.
I get in arguments all the time that Chicago pizza sometimes gets a little overrated.
Well, I can tell you the last 5 times I went into DogHaus, and I hate to say this on the mic, but I definitely didn't order a hot dog. It's just our menu is so eclectic and so different. It's think about this. I love hot dogs. I created DogHaus with my 2 partners. But how often does everybody go to get a hot dog a month? Mm-hmm. Once, twice, 3 times if you're lucky. So we had to create a menu that fit everybody, so you come in all different day parts, like the Badass Breakfast Burrito. And by the way, most people will think breakfast burritos are for breakfast, but most orders, especially in Chicago, are between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. That's when people order the breakfast burritos. It's the late night munchies, it's the university, it's something that's different. But we tried to make a menu that was kind of diverse for multiple reasons, to reach a broader audience, to have multiple times you come in. I'll get a burrito this day. I'll get a burger this day. Everybody here can have a couple burgers a week, but you can't have 7 hot dogs a week. And then start kind of like creating a different brand for everybody, but also different day parts. And I think that was a strategy that worked. And being operators like we are, when you go all in on something, let's make up chicken recently, and then all of a sudden the prices change, or there's something that goes wrong, that's a big hit for a chicken brand. But for us, when all of our proteins equal 10% each, then there's you can be stable for your franchisees, and nothing gets rocked at any given day. So you got to think about your audience is one important thing, but then you also got to think about your franchisees to be stable.
Phone my film crew. How rude.
Well,
they're supposed to be professionals over there. Wow.
Probably it's another important delivery order here for you. Oh.
So you recently made a change in your company where you decided that you wanted to step out of the limelight a little bit and give someone else the keys to sort of further the company. That's got to be one of the hardest decisions that a founder ever has to make.
Well, look at how your career started. Somebody put their business in your hands at a young age, and I'm an entrepreneur. I like to have fun. I like creating things. I like being the first there. I don't like being a fast follower. I like being the first person, and sometimes I fail, and it's okay. But I want to be the first person to try. I want to be I'll be creative, and I'm an entrepreneur from day one. Once we got to 50 locations, we're in 50 locations in 14 states. That's not what I'm good at. That's what people like you are good at, taking it to the next level. And so I think it's a very humbling thing to do. But anybody who's an entrepreneur probably isn't good. A founder, entrepreneur, isn't really good at running maybe 500 locations. There's a few gems, such as yourself, that could do both. I'm a person who's ready to do the next thing, to start something new. And I had to hand this over. And I think being a franchisor is something different for most than being owning your own independent restaurant. You have a responsibility. All these people have put their livelihood into the brand. And so once we got to 50 locations, our first thing was to find somebody who could take it to the next level. And so right now we're opening two stores a month. We'll be at 100 units by the end of next year. We're rolling out a few new brands, a few new concepts. And so I gave the keys to somebody I trusted, Michael, in the industry, to take it to the next level. And I think the three of us, Hago, Casa, and myself, the founders, thought that was the right move. Am I stepping out of the limelight? I mean, there's a lot of lights here right now, but definitely not trying to get out of it. But my new job description is, what can I help with DogHaus from 1 to 5 years out? What's the forward thinking? I don't speak to any franchisees anymore. I don't speak to my staff anymore. My job is creating it to the next level. Partnerships, CPG, airports, licensing agreements, international, whatever that means. Just keep growing the brand in that way, but not, it's past, I'm just not the person who could manage that team anymore.
But most founders don't realize when, so they always stay and they think they can. And I'm the same way. I'm not good, and I don't want a 1,000-unit chain. Someone else is going to have to grow and be the president of that organization at that point, because once you get to 1,000 units, the franchisee's different. So they're not relatable. They think they know a little bit better, and then you're just a machine, and that's not for me. Most founders take time to know to do that. You guys realized it early enough to then go and really focus on what you guys are good at, which is amazing to me that all of you, the light bulb clicked because you knew where you wanted to go.
I think part of it too is, I think for all of us in any business you're in, especially the restaurant business, if you're successful, it's easy. And I think when we looked at 3 years of having 40% EBITDA for our company and just being comfortable, we had that comfort to hand it over to somebody that had the infrastructure to take it to the next level. I think the tough thing is when you're having 50 or 100 units and you're struggling or trying to survive and you hand it over to somebody, you're basically looking for somebody to save your problem. And so for us, it was to hand over the keys to a castle that was doing successful. And there's a lot of brands out there, and I envy and I'm jealous of them, that are just opening and 20 stores, 50 stores, 100 stores a year. And I want to be like them as well. But I also feel comfortable that we're just opening 2 stores a month and 24 stores a year. To me, is perfect. A nice stable pace. And I think you just gotta be humble and realize that other people are better than you. Other people can take your business and make it more successful, and you could just watch it happen.
I'm Greg Majewski, and I've been a multi-unit operator for 26 years. I know how great it feels owning the right franchise brand, but choosing the right franchisor feels even better. At Craveworthy Brands, our hospitality-driven culture sets us apart because we're invested in your success at every single stage of your journey. We're operators alongside you, paving the way forward to give you a head start on greatness. Start your franchise journey at craveworthybrands.com.
When you say that restaurants are opening 20, 25, some 50 stores a year, most of them aren't successful. I've been around long enough to see that the stores and those franchise concepts that go from boom to bust, we all know what's going to come and happen. We all sit there and go, oh, we're going to watch this sort of go, and they're growing too fast and they don't know what they're doing. And I mean, the Cookie Wars is a perfect example of that. Crumble's now closing stores, and Dirty Dough. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten involved in Dirty Dough if everything was roses. I buy companies that are struggling so I can fix them and put them on the right way because they grow too fast.
I think part of that problem too is if you look at data and math and you grow fast, 80% are going to make it, right? So open 100 stores in 1 year, 80% might make it, 70% might make it. But if you look at yourself in the mirror and you realize that 30 of those stores are people who put in their borrowed, begged, and stole money to put in to build your brand, believed in your brand, and they're out of business, and they're dealing with like issues at home, personal debt, all this kind of stuff. But you're just like, well, yeah, I got 70 new stores open. The system's doing great. That's a whole nother thing that comes into character and morals. It's like, I don't want to see a store close. I don't want to ever see a franchisee store close. And if it takes me a long time to get to 100 units, then so be it. But I'd rather do it in my definition, the right way, not the business way. The other business way is open 100, 70 will make it, and everybody there is flying their private jets and doing great. But I'll just, I believe DogHaus will be a brand that will be around from 100 years from today. And I hope that my daughter's kids get to enjoy one, and that's my goal.
It's awesome. But what you said there is the most important takeaway. You care so much that your franchisees are successful that you'd rather grow slow and grow right and make sure they win than go ahead and take the easy payday today and let a ton of stores open. And so many in this industry do it wrong, but if you treat your franchisees right, you always win. And that's something that I talk about all the time, and that's one of my key points of why we do Craveworthy and why we're doing it the way we're doing it is I want my franchisees to win. I know of 3 other brands that talk that way. So to have you say it is so refreshing and awesome, and people should understand a DogHaus franchisee is set up to win. And because their founders and their team does everything to make sure that they win.
Well, and we don't, not everybody wins, and we're not perfect. And what we always say is we punch outside of our weight class, and that we don't have the binders like a buttoned up company's been around 100 years and here's your operating manual, 600 pages. If we don't have it right, we at least try. We make it up with effort. And a lot of times we have our annual board meeting and we sit there and we say, people ask, what's your vision statement? What's your mission statement? We haven't changed it for like 10 years, and it's 2 words. And it says people matter. That's it. And we said, do we need to adjust this? Are we good? And it's not only the franchisees, it's our staff as well. And I'm proud to say that we have most of our staff have been there over 10 years. We don't really have turnover. If we do, it's for a great reason. Somebody's gone to another amazing brand of a big boy company. Somebody's moved international to be with their family. Somebody, but people don't leave. And what's amazing at our company, I'd say we only have a staff of 20 plus, and at our company Christmas parties that we have every year, holiday parties, I guess, we have at least 2, if not 5, of the old staff join us. And it's just a family, and it's something that works. And so I realize if you just are kind to people, sincerely kind, not like read this or listen to this, but like if you feel like being kind and you want to be kind and you believe that people matter and that they all have their own struggles, personally, we all have struggles, just treat them right and it's going to come back to you. Sure, the payday for some of these people are, amazing, but I'm in it for the long, like I said, I'm in it for my daughter's kids to have something for the future, and that's why I show up to work, is to build something for the future, the next generation.
Love that. So absolutely love that. As you continue to grow, where do you think DogHaus, or more importantly, the virtual brands, are going to go in the next couple of years? Because the big talk today is virtual brands are dying and that they're a mistake and everyone's taking them out. Do you think that's true, or do you think there's a future in them?
I think 80% of virtual brands today are going to die, but if you do a great virtual brand and you're putting energy to it and it's part of your culture and part of your DNA, it's 1,000%. We just launched a new Big Belly Burgers. We just launched that at Coachella. It was the #1 selling item there. We thought Badass Breakfast Burritos or DogHaus would crush it. No chance. These were amazing burgers, and it's a cool brand. We've been thinking about it and working on it for 2 years, getting through the trademark process, and it's just a really cool concept. You think another burger concept, but it's just a really good concept that we have a lot of passion behind. Virtual brands are not dying. They have to be done correctly. I believe it's like a long, as Jeff Alexander would say, we're in the second, third inning of a baseball game. You need to take it like it's a real brand. When we first started, everyone thinks a virtual brand is slap a logo on it, put it on 3PD, go for it, and people are going to come. No, we do ribbon cuttings, we do swag, we do press releases, we go out to high school and college campuses, talk about the brand. It is a brand. If you make a virtual brand, second word of it is brand. If you just turn it on a 3PD and have a logo, some cool logo that you came up with, a name, it's not going to take off like that. It needs to be, it's just like you said, Badass Breakfast Burritos. We have to make it its own company. It's doing over $25 million in sales right now. We're a small company, but like, how do you not take that seriously and make it its own brand? We don't have a t-shirt yet. We don't have a website yet, but now we're like, we need to make this a brand. We've always said it on different interviews or on the stage, like, make it a brand. But we really need to like listen to what we've said and make it a brand. So I think virtual brands are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. I mean, that's like saying delivery is going to be gone. It's something, the pandemic helped boosted it. But my only recommendation to anybody who's doing a virtual brand is be true to yourself and treat it like it's its own company.
Again, dead on. And there's very few people that have created brands for them, like both of us have, and some of these other ones have hosed everybody on fees and everything else, and I think that's where the industry is going to change.
Right.
You know, I think more people are going to copy you and create brands in-house that fit their personality and their DNA, and then be successful with them.
And I think the other thing about it is when you do create that and you have this amazing food hall here and you're doing virtual brands, what of the items travel well? That's something very hard. Our top 3 most popular sellers in store do not travel well. And it's very hard for us not to put that on the item. But like, we don't do French, we don't want to do French fries anymore. We do tater tots because they hold an extra 20 minutes and they're great and they're crunchy. And you just have to look at that its own company and figure out what delivers. And once again, we have all the data out there from the technology out there that says what people want. So you got to listen to what they want, not what you want to give them. What do they want? And you have a segment in the industry, I have a segment in the industry. And both of us yesterday were at the MEG conference and listened to the opening keynote speaker. And man, looking at the slides and talking about the left brain and the right brain, all the data coming in and all the creative part and the emotion of it. And now everyone's like, well, here's all the data. It says we need to do this and this and this and this, but go back to the right side of the brain. We have to be balanced and listen to what do we want to give them? What do the customers want? What connects with them? What's the emotion behind it? I love the keynote speaker yesterday, and it's just hearing the journey about Nike. It was just amazing, and really so many things clicked with me during that conversation. But the one that really hit me is you can't always look at the data. We have to connect with the people. We have to connect with the brand. We have to connect with their stomachs, their emotions, all those kinds of things. I think it's very important.
That was the first keynote in about 4 conferences. I actually was like, yes, I got something from it.
That one was amazing, and I have to say I really enjoyed Martha Stewart. That she was amazing. When I heard her age and what she's done, I was shocked listening for 1 hour. I mean, what a powerful woman and stories. I was just sitting there. I was like, this is so cool. Yeah. I'm in the room with her taking photographs of her. I'm like, I had no clue about that. She
went and played basketball that
morning. She
morning.
played basketball, 80-something, 82 years old, and hanging out and going to go fly for the Olympics with Snoop and do this and this. I'm just like, what an amazing lady. And writing her 100th book and all the things she's done. So, yeah, I have to agree with you. I think I went like 2 out of 20 good keynote speakers. Yeah. I'm glad it was the last
I forgot about Martha. It was good.
She was pretty fun.
So, any word of advice for anyone getting into the industry? Because the industry's always got a bad name, and both of us have been very, very lucky to be very successful in it. But how do you get people who don't particularly think the restaurant industry is for them to get excited about entering this sort of business?
Well, I think America is a place where people could come to. It's an opportunity to create something, to be an entrepreneur, freedom to try something different. And that's one thing. Restaurateurs is like doubling down on that, right? It's like we've all talked about it. Everybody wants to own their own bar. Everybody wants to have a restaurant. I think it's a great space to get into. It's fun. It's addicting. It's something that you're serving people every day. If you want to give hospitality back and you believe in that, this is the space. If you're doing it for another reason, probably not the space. We are in hospitality. And if you don't want to take care of people, stay away from it. Just go and dine at the restaurant. But if you want to own one and give your little touch, creation to it, I think it's the best thing. I will change one thing, and what the space we're in is franchising. And I think franchising, if I could have done that before I started my other restaurants, I would have done that from day one. And what I think franchising is, you get to try and understand what a restaurant is. And when I opened my first restaurant, I had to hire a $100,000 chef. I had to hire a PR agency for $10,000 retainer. I had to hire a marketing team. I had to do all these things. I'm already at $500,000 before I serve my first customer. At a franchise, it's like we hire a couple $100,000 chef, divide it, and the franchisee's paying $10 a royalty a month for that same menu. So I think it's a great way to get in the restaurant, to learn about it, to get the playbook, to trust it, to believe in the system. Don't come in the franchise system if you want to create your own menu or your own bar, your favorite drink needs to be on the menu. That's not for it. If you want to have a nice playbook to see what's worked, what's proven, what's worked out there. And I think you said it once before, I think 90% of restaurants fail, and I think 90% of franchisee stores are still open today. And so I think it's a great way to get into the restaurant game, unless you are a passionate chef, a mixologist, a bartender, then believe in yourself and do your own restaurant. I would. If you have the passion of cooking and making cocktails, do your own restaurant. If you don't have that passion but want to be in the game, it's all about franchising.
I agree 100%. So before we go, can you go ahead and let people know where to get franchise information for DogHaus, and more importantly, where to order and find your locations across the country?
The simple thing, doghaus.com. You can find everything there. We are in 14 states today, growing to 20 by the end of next year. We love to be in your neighborhood. We're always looking for somebody who's passionate and believes in a brand. Please do not call us or ask for information unless you've gone and fell in love with the food. We're not looking for anybody who's trying to look for a business. We're looking for somebody who falls in love with their brand, and we want you to be a current part of it. And we are, trying to be that staple for going across the country, providing great experiences for customers. And like I said, this is something that if you believe in our brand and you care about people and hospitality, we're the right fit. And otherwise, there's a lot of also amazing brands out there that, franchising, like I said, is the way to go.
So, well, Andre, thank you for coming. And I will end by saying this. Very rarely will I recommend anyone to buy any other franchise brand besides my own. And Andre and DogHaus is a group that I would 100% get people behind, and it is definitely something that you guys should look into if you're interested in that segment. It is an incredible, incredible team and an incredible group of people that make sure that you are successful and will work their asses off for you. So, again, always buy Craveworthy brands, but if you're going to go and look for something else, that is the man you want to do business with. Again, everybody, thank you for another great episode of Room for Seconds. Thank you for coming and looking at this incredible, now back to filling up Hayden Hall, and we can't wait to come back to you in a couple weeks with another new episode.
Hey viewers, thanks again for supporting Room for Seconds. If you found this episode inspiring, interesting, or any bit informative, please hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom so you never miss an episode. In my 26 years in this amazing industry, I've been blessed with incredible mentorship. This show is my way of giving back. Follow me on LinkedIn, search Greg Majewski, on Twitter, @Greg_Majewski. If you still have room for more, visit our website at media.craveworthybrands.com. You'll find more videos, shows, notes, blogs, resources, and an easy way to get in touch with the Craveworthy Brands team. I'm your host, Greg Majewski. Thanks again for tuning in to Room for Seconds.